Well, you can thank Mary Mcbride for that one right there. Because truthfully, I have no idea what this flower is. Isn't that beautiful? So Mary Mcbride is the person who's responsible for 90% of the garden I'm about to show you. She was is a plant collector who lived in San Diego County for 20 years and worked on this most fabulous home in Vista, which I was fortunate enough to buy from her. And turns out not many people were brave enough to buy such a big garden, but I'm a sucker for a garden like this. It's incredible. She did amazing work. So this video is dedicated to Mary Mcbride. She worked at Buena Creek Gardens, a rare plant nursery in San Diego County here. And I'll show you, it's May 6th. I should have taken this video when I first got down here. And because everything was blooming super heavy about 2 weeks ago, probably the best week to see blooming flowers in California. But I missed that opportunity. I've been self-quarantining during this coronavirus all by my lonesome self. And I figure I don't need to shave because I don't see anybody. Nobody sees me. Well, maybe you do, but that's all right. But anyway, let's take a tour of this place, all right? I bought it because I can grow plants down here. There's a whole acre in the back I'll show you that I've been working on. Look at this crinum. Isn't that beautiful? It's just gorgeous, and it has this beautiful red foliage to it. That's a real beautiful thing. This is my little unit right here. It's a little granny flat. Mary's mom lived there for a while. I've got my little patio in the back. Anyway, I'll have this available for VRBO, my unit, eventually, but not yet because I'm still working on it. And here's the beautiful geranium down on the forest floor with a little bit of erigeron, pretty common plant. And here's another one. I have no idea. You know, the beauty of YouTube is that you guys will put your comments in and you'll teach me about what I'm looking at. Maybe Mary will look at this and tell me also. Now, I think this is a type of Duranta. Pretty sure. I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, this is more of a white flower. Is that focusing? That's some beautiful morning light. Now, Mary was huge into vining plants. I'm sorry. Bulbs, lots of bulbs and irises, things like that. So here is a beautiful iris being lit right now. I'm not sure which variety that is. And you can see, you know, this is what you get in May. This is what you get in April. So we missed the window a little bit, but we still have some great color. I planted a mango tree up here. That is a Valencia Pride right there. It's getting some new growth. Beautiful new growth on it. We have a rock rose. Of course, the bees love the rock rose. Another beautiful iris that's a few days past its prime, starting to fall over. We'll be cutting this back eventually, but just beautiful coloration on those. And then another one, I have no idea because I'm like the tropical plant guy, and somebody help me with that, please, 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 please. What else do we have along here? And right now I have this euphorbia. It's beautiful, but it's taken over the whole garden, so I'm removing it. There was huge clumps of it up here. Look, it's coming up everywhere. See it? And it turns into big billowing, flowering masses of plant, and I just don't want that plant to take over the whole entire garden, so we're slowly getting rid of it. Not gonna let it bloom again. And look at this. Here's a beautiful native San Diego plant that grows on the rocks around here. Dudleya pulverenta, the chalk Dudleya. And you can see they call it the chalk Dudleya because it's very chalky. So that's a really beautiful plant. Usually grows in rocks and decomposed granite places. What else? There's another type of Dudleya right there. I forget which one that is. That was native to Baja. That's super cool. Then we have Leucadendron. And obviously we have the really beautiful flowers that are just otherworldly. But also, the new growth is kind of interesting too. You can see the new growth here coming up. There's the old growth, there's a new growth. So it gives you a multicoloration of foliage on top of the beautiful flowers that it creates. And there's a pathway looking down that way. It's just a beautiful scene. You can see how I fell in love with this place. and pretty much sold everything I had to get it and pulled every trick in the book and borrowed money here and borrowed money there. Aloe, not sure which aloe, but that's an aloe. Here's a plant that I added over here. It's a type of yucca. This is really super beautiful yellow stripes on it. Hopefully that'll grow up and look pretty. This particular one here was actually quite a bit more stripy and yellowy than the typical kind, but it might be a drawback because it doesn't seem to be as vigorous as the typical kind. There's always a give and take. Here's a cool plant that I've always been in love with, and it is called Thavitia. I think it's called the Yellow Oleander, and I believe this is from Peru, and it makes a really beautiful sort of tropical shiny foliage. Let me find some light. There's some light in here. Some light on the foliage. Anyway, beautiful foliage. There's a new flower buds coming out. Actually makes a big apple-like fruit, and I don't know if that is edible or not. I believe this is a Kalanchoe down here. These are just finishing blooming. They had lots of flowers on them before, but they're covered in these red flowers. And you can see what's pretty about them is they make this really interesting spotted pattern to their foliage. So that's a real pretty one, and they're prolific. We need to sell this at the nursery. Right now I don't. I've grown this in my garden for a long time, always looking for weeds. Okay, and but you look, it's just sprouting everywhere. Not sure if those are seeds or little plantlets or what. I think the plantlets might actually end up on the ends of the leaves. I'll have to take a closer look at the progress of that plant. But that's a really wonderful thing. Here's a fun one. Not blooming, but has an interesting look and coloration to it. This is another Kalanchoe. This one has a strange species name, and I've often wondered why that is. Maybe it's because it looks like a red heart almost. It's kind of like a heart right there, kind of red. It's called Kalanchoe orgialis, just like it sounds. So, confused on that one. But anyway, some nice roses. We'll continue right along this side of the pathway, and have a nice persimmon tree. This persimmon tree puts out a lot of fruit. As Mary knows, it's getting bigger, making a little bit of a tunnel. Look at the beautiful pathway. There's pathways that just go everywhere here. And here's a nice white rock rose. Beautiful rock rose. And what else do I want to show you today? I believe this plant, I was trying to remember the name. I know this plant. Oh, I saw it first in Jamaica. There's a yellow form of this too. It's beautiful though. You see these like in the Caribbean, like draping over balcony gardens. So it's a wonderful draper. And I used to know the name of this plant. I should probably sell this at the nursery too, but it's hard to sell everything. I added a Prichardia palm native to Hawaii right here. Isn't that beautiful? Has this real tropical look to it. And looky here. We have your pineapple guava blooming. It's the time of year that it blooms. The fun thing about this is you could take these petals off right here and without hurting the flower or the fruit that you'll get later, which is delicious. And you can eat these. Yum, 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 yum. Yum, yum, yummy in my tummy. It tastes like bubble gum. It's really good. Here's a really beautiful plant that adds color all year. And that is Carissa. Variegated Carissa. So Carissas, there's a whole bunch of different Carissas. They're all native to South Africa. And this is a variegated one. So beautiful. Look at the color on that. What else? What else? What else? Of course, everything blooms at different times of the year. This is not blooming, but it sure is incredible. Check this thing out. This tree aloe. Oh, look at that thing. That's insane. This is an incredible form. Just an incredible big giant trunk down here. Next to these native boulders. These are the native boulders of the area. But look, this euphorbia. Look, it's everywhere. No more. We're gonna slowly get rid of that thing. It's gonna take probably a couple years to get rid of it, but we've gotten most of it out already. The big ones anyway. Here's this tropical little jungle garden through here. Here is some kind of jasmine. I'm not sure. I think. Help me out here, everybody. But it's kind of a semi-tree form, bush tree form. And is there fragrance? Is there fragrance? Absolutely. Woo, that smells great if you really get in there. Now look at the flower drop is really pretty in here. Look at that flower drop. Isn't that nice? That's nice. Yeah. Oh, look. Huh. Euphorbia. 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 No more euphorbia. It's such a pretty plant too, darn it. Another Doranta right there. Sky blue flower. And do I remember the name of this? This is a good test of my pea brain. I used to know the name of this. Is it Leucadendron? I have to get back to you on that one. Of course, every garden can't be complete without a little bit of bird of paradise. And here's a beautiful thing. Look at this. Look at this. Come on, Gary. Pomegranate flower. Isn't that beautiful? This is some kind of special one. Everything here is special because Mary wouldn't plant anything that wasn't special. So it's obviously like a ruffled flower. That is so pretty, isn't it? And look at the flower buds coming out. Really beautiful. I think we have a Watsonia there. I'm gonna wildly guess that's from South Africa. Something else we have is catching the very tail end of the bloom here. You noticed? Yeah, that's the very tail end right there. That's so tail we could barely even get it. That is Agave desmetiana? No. Agave. We sell this at the nursery. I think it's just old age. That's my excuse. This is a terrible plant. This is a plant from South Africa. I don't even know the name of it. This is so invasive. We're gonna get rid of that. This took over my house in Lafayette. I thought it was really pretty, which it is, but then it took over. You gotta watch those plants that want to take over. Okay. There's some down the street. I'm actually gonna pull it too because I don't want it to encroach. What else? 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 Another beautiful yellow iris right there. In fact, since we're on that topic, let's hop over across the street and look at the prolific bloom of this iris. Look at this. Is that a good shot? It's kind of a good shot, right? Obviously, my beloved king palms in the background that Mary planted for me 20 years ago. She knew I was coming. And yeah, this beautiful iris. And then my newest addition, as of yesterday, I planted, this used to be a big pond area. That was a waterfall, but the pond apparently was too much of a hassle to maintain. So they filled it in, and there was nothing here when I came. So I planted a bunch of Kentia palms in the ground here in grow bags. But then it got ridiculously hot, like hotter than Vista's ever gotten, and they burned. And now they're coming back. So to prevent that from happening again, we need a little bit of shade, and I planted a grove 3, and I might even plant one more. I'll plant one over here of Eucalyptus deglupta. This is the most beautiful eucalyptus there is. It's a real tropical form of eucalyptus, and it gets a beautiful big dark green leaf. But the most important part about this plant, you can Google Eucalyptus deglupta, the Mindanao gum, or the rainbow eucalyptus. But look, it gets this rainbow color to the bark, and as it gets bigger, it'll be more pronounced. And it's starting to do it right now. These trees are going to get huge. There's one here. There's one right over there. And there's one over here. Mary will like to know that I found this leftover stone, which is 6 by 6 foot. That was left over from the waterfall. I found it in the bushes down by the street, and I got my crane out and I moved it over here. So now it's gonna look really good. The other, it's a good spot to just lay on, chill with your cerveza. Look at the garden. But the other tree that I added for shade is called Schizolobium. I don't know too much about this tree, other than it does great here, and it gets huge, and it makes a really beautiful canopy, and it's deciduous in the winter. So what that means is when I don't need sun protection for the Kentia palms, I will have sunlight, which will make them hardier to sunlight for the Bay Area. And let's see, moving right along, let's hop back across the street and see what we have over here. Okay, nothing like one big long uncut video. We have a Michelia dulcopa, not in bloom right now. And here is something cool. And fuchsia like, don't know the name of this one, but it sure is pretty. There are the seed pods right there, dark green. And there's a lot of things here. Everything blooms at different times of the year. So it's amazing, these iris, they really are ephemeral and temporal. These were in full bloom like a week ago. So, but they were spectacular. And look at this, look at this. Can we see that? Back foot? I don't know. Maybe not. Can you catch that? Caliandra. Beautiful Caliandra. So I believe this is the Baja fairy duster, native to Baja, California. There's several different Caliandras out there. There's one that's native to Baja. I think that's it. Here's a Lavatera. This is actually native to the Channel Islands of California. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. Whoosh. Another thing that I've seen around, don't know what it is, but it's beautiful. I call this the wedding chapel here. And it looks like you could have a little wedding in there. You could remove the bench, and that's where the bride and groom are with the guy that's giving or the person giving the proceeding. You could have the wedding party on both sides, and you could have maybe 2 or 3 viewers and an audience there. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. That's cool. What that? What that? What is that? I don't know. Here's a salvia of some sort. Beautiful salvia. And Here is a magical garden. Some other beautiful, I believe, Watsonia, right? Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this the way I'm seeing it? Wait. Oh. I don't know. Tough to get the right camera angle. On a little tiny iPhone. Here's ground orchid, Blatilla striata, finishing its bloom. Chinese ground orchid. It's a beautiful orchid right there. And don't know this one. And I believe this is this Osteospermum fruticans, which is a real common ground cover, but whatever. It looks cool, letting it do its thing. There are some beautiful roses here in this garden. This side of the garden is more of the sort of feminine, leafy, flowery section with lots of irises. Here's another beautiful thing. I don't know what that is. There's more of it over here. Gladiolas. And Coleonema. You actually can use this on your barbecued meat. It's pretty good as a spice. But beautiful layout of pathways. Mary is a fantastic designer, in addition to being an amazing plants person. Here's cordyline a variation of stricta. It's called Soledad. It gets this purple foliage a bit, and then of course it makes a purple bloom, which is pretty spectacular. Here's a wonderful arbor. I'll look down here. Oh, I used to sell this plant. This is a great plant. I gotta sell this again at the nursery. But it's a plant, I believe, from New Zealand, and it's like a ground cover. It's really pretty foliage. And then, look at this iris right here. That's quite an iris there. Yeah, this is the ADHD garden. That thing there is a really tough, wonderful plant. I forget the name of it. So, let's see. There's an infinite number of plants, and there's only so much space in Gary's little pea brain. So, can't expect him to know everything all the time. And look, here's a different farm. This is a different farm of pomegranate, which is cool. More gladiola right there. And then we have one more rose right there. Tree fern, giant honeysuckle lonicera. What else do I want to show you today? That's Oso right there. What's up, Oso? How you doing, buddy? Here's a wonderful plant called Petria volubus, and it's in just absolutely spectacular bloom right now. Right there, covering the jail. The jail was disassembled from the house. A guy named Skip owned the house before Mary. He owned a bunch of strip clubs. He dealt in a lot of cash, and so he built bars all over the building. And he built the pond that we showed you there that's filled in. And he also, so they took apart all the bars, and they built what amounts to a garden jail right here with plants all around it. So if you come here and you're bad, you have to go to jail. That's the way it is. And then here's another really beautiful thing that I have no idea what it is. Isn't that pretty? Look at that. There's so many wonderful little areas here to explore in. And here's another cool pathway wandering around back out to the driveway. Lighting's going to get a little abrupt out here because it is super bright with the morning sun. It's getting to be tough. I really should film this like when there was overcast so you could really see the flowers. This is a lot like Armeria, but it's not. It's something else. I should know and I don't. I apologize. So here's some major cluster of iris coming up with some really pretty lighting on it. So we'll get a nice little iris horn shot right for you guys. Wait, there, no, there. Pretty. Look at that. Okay, let me show you what I've been up to over here. Mary's gonna want to know that I saved the falling wall. Skip, the strip joint guy, built this wall with no footing, no reinforcement, and this wall was falling over. And I went through great lengths to build a buttress system on the wall. Get a better lighting over here. Here's a Polygala. Look at the leaf litter of the Polygala. Isn't that pretty? But Polygala right here. That's either Australian or South African, can't remember which. Now this will actually naturalize through the garden. You see it's kind of popping up everywhere, like even over there. Here's another advantage of the beautiful pathway, looking down through the garden. And it's quite a garden, it goes on forever. And here's the buttress system I used. You see this whole wall was falling over. It was gonna be no moss unless I did this. Oh look, more euphorbia. We need to get rid of this plant. And look, more euphorbia. But the buttress system, I built this wall to match the existing block construction, had these concrete caps custom made. I'm going to put terracotta pots on these with agaves that will never need water. That'll probably live forever without doing a single thing to them. That's the plan. But I have 5 of these buttresses throughout the whole wall system. I might add one more because I have a little extra material left over. And there's another one over there. So that wall will not fall over now. And this is what I've been up to. Working my tail off. Mary's gonna want to see this. Moved all of the junk over here. Construction debris for future projects. And here's my storage for my potting soil that I built. It took quite a while, but it's pretty awesome. It's a block construction, and this is split face tan, which is much prettier and a little more expensive than everything else. The labor's all the same, so as a percentage of construction, it doesn't cost much more to get something which is infinitely more beautiful. See, we have all the potting soil. Here are the ponds I've been potting. This is where I'll spend my day getting filthy dirty. And this is what I've been up to in the back. Been installing this whole nursery area. I've got this area graded out on this side. Made a nice little pathway going up the slope so you can access the different tiers from the bottom to the top. My tractor is small enough to fit on this little pathway. I still need to finish it off and make it nice. And the whole entire perimeter of the property, we're going to be planting avocados of every denomination. We're going to use all kinds of, I think I have room for 42 trees. So we'll be selling avocados in Northern California to the my market up there, right by my house, Dabbler Foods. They'll take as many as I can give them. But so here's something pretty fantastic. This is a hybrid queen palm. This is a queen palm is Tigris Kornata. This is hybridized with a palm that really just won't grow here that well, or at least in Northern California, called the Tigris Kornata. Kornata gets a beautiful silver coloration to the frond. Kornata is much more drought tolerant than the queen palm. It's also more wind tolerant because the foliage is stiffer. Okay, now this palm has gotten the attributes of both parents. It's gotten the cold hardiness of a queen palm, but it has this really beautiful silver coloration to the foliage of the Kornata. And it's going to be a little more formal looking, a little more silvery blue, which I think is really spectacular. And these are the only ones available anywhere that I know of. And so I have about 70 of them that I sort of rescued from a buddy who grew them for a long time, but then didn't really want to keep them any longer. But look at the silver coloration in this tree. So we're going to be growing these things and getting them big. We have so many we can use these on commercial applications if you have a larger job. But yeah, this is what I've been doing. I had to notch into the hill. I have to put drip system out here. I have to, and there's so many things we have to do. But we're doing them. I'm doing them today. As soon as I turn this video off, I'm on it. We got to get these things all straight, looking good. And we also have some, I'm only growing really special palms here. We also have some really nice hybrid queen palms. This palm here is hybridized with, this is the queen palm hybridized Tigris Kornata hybridized with Tigris schizophylla, which is a greener, more tropical looking palm than Kornata. And so, yeah, we have some really interesting hybrids that will be growing up in boxes here. And you step up to the upper tier, and we have our container growing area. That area over there will be a little greenhouse on that concrete pad. We'll be growing all of our container plants here. Right now, we'll be planting up all kinds of different varieties of avocados and a bunch of mangoes. Here are the avocados, which is the next thing on my hit list once I get the palms dealt with. We need to pot all these up into 15-gallon. There's a whole bunch of different varieties here that are extremely hard to get. And these little sizes just don't establish well in Northern California, so we need to get them to the next level and make them hardier and tougher for you guys before we release them. We have Jim Bacon, which is a fantastic one. You just can't seem to get anywhere in any appreciable size. And we have, I believe this is Mexicola. We have Kona Charwell in here. We have a whole bunch of different things. So anyway, this is where we're going to be producing all these plants. Planted citrus all along the back here. 6 or 7 different types of citrus. Have oranges all year. And yeah, I just got to keep banging, keep cleaning up, keep working on it. And that's pretty much the story down here. It's not the whole garden tour, but at least it gives you an idea of what this place is all about.